Are you satisfied that this is not a serious concern for the NBA, the latest round of stories about his gambling?
Yes, I am, but it's raised a good issue, and I think it's something that we have to be, I think, very cognizant of in the course of the summer, not for Michael, but for dealing with the questions our fans have raised about our players, and we're looking into a lot of related subjects on gambling per se.
In 2007, the NBA called gambling the worst threat it had ever faced. Today, it's a $600 billion bet, and the league is all in. This is the story of how the one thing the NBA called a threat became its most profitable turn, while the referee at the center of it went to prison, and its players today stand charged. Tim Donaghy is an NBA referee, 13 years in the league. He's officiated playoff games, finals games, games that decided careers. He's also betting on games he officiates.
You're insisting that your betting did not influence the way you called a game. Why should we believe you?
Because the FBI did a thorough investigation, and even the NBA concluded that I did not fix games in the NBA.
When you were reffing a game, didn't it come to your mind that you'd bet on one team and not on the other?
I tried to put it out of my mind, and I think that I was able to do that.
In one game, you were betting on San Antonio, but you threw their coach, Greg Popovich, out of the game.
And now, Greg Popovich has been tossed.
I didn't think about the bet during the game, and in my mind, he needed to be ejected.
The FBI contacts the NBA about a referee they believe has been betting on games. And the commissioner of the NBA tells the world it is one man, the worst situation he had ever experienced. His words.
We can't find it, and his fellow refs can't find it, and as best as we can tell, law enforcement can't find it. So I accept the prevailing view.
Tim Donaghy pleads guilty to 2 felonies: conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to transmit wagering information across state lines. His own lawyer tells the court he gave the government a roadmap. 1 referee, 1 sentence, the case closed.
1 year and 3 months behind bars for disgraced NBA referee Tim Donaghy. He could have been sentenced to much more prison time under federal guidelines, but the judge gave Donaghy credit for his extensive cooperation with investigators. His lawyer was pleased.
We're thrilled with the outcome today.
Donaghy pled guilty last year to taking payoffs from a professional gambler for providing recommendations on how to bet on games, using his inside knowledge of players and teams. He also admitted to betting on games where he officiated as referee. The National Basketball Referees Association called Donaghy a selfish person who forever compromised the game.
6 years after Donaghy went to prison, 6 years after David Stern called gambling the worst threat the NBA had ever faced. The new commissioner of the NBA, the man who replaced David Stern 9 months earlier, publishes an op-ed in the New York Times calling for the nationwide legalization of sports betting.
In the community around sports, whether it's talking to fans in arenas, whether it's looking at the point spreads in your paper and others and hearing sports commentators constantly talking about who's favored or not, there's no doubt there's a betting culture that exists around sports. On top of that, I've done a lot of international work on behalf of the NBA. And in many of those jurisdictions, sports betting is perfectly legal. In fact, at English Premier League games, people bet at betting windows at the stadiums. And I also saw that with all that was discussed and going on around sports betting and the massive underground market that now exists, it was something we needed to address directly rather than just saying we don't think it should happen, because it is happening.
437 words. Arguably the most consequential op-ed in the history of American sports. In under 3 months, the NBA went from the courtroom victory to the first official gambling partnership between a major American sports league and a casino operator. The league got there first, by design. That was the beginning.
Would like to own a piece of the betting profits in the league?
Not the profits. I think our proposal is, it's been a bit controversial, but we've proposed that we receive something that I've called an integrity fee, and some people said, oh, that's a euphemism for you just getting a royalty, and I'm saying, all right, call it a royalty.
FanDuel, DraftKings, MGM. The league that once called gambling an existential threat now has more gambling partners than any sport in America. When the federal ban fell in 2018, Mark Cuban said his franchise value doubled overnight. Not from winning, from the ruling that made betting on his team legal.
One of the beautiful things about NIL for professional sports is guys know how to manage their money by the time they get out of college. Football, you're 4 years, and basketball, you're 1 or 2 years, and more guys are staying 4 years, which is even better.
Operation Nothing But Bet, Operation Royal Flush, 34 people charged in 2 federal cases connected to the NBA.
Well, the FBI has made several high-profile arrests as part of an investigation into illegal sports betting and rigged poker games. They include big names from the NBA Basketball League. Portland Trailblazers head coach was arrested in connection with a poker scheme linked to the mafia. Miami Heat player Terry Rozier is accused of helping to rig NBA games. More than 30 individuals are arrested in total. They're facing charges including wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, and illegal gambling.
The indictments allege ties to 4 New York organized crime families across 11 states. These are charges. Nothing has been proven in court. 5 days later, the Senate Commerce Committee writes to the NBA. Senators Cruz and Cantwell want documents.
And now on that gambling scandal that's rocked the NBA, Congress wants answers from NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. The House Commerce Committee has asked for a briefing from Silver by this Friday. They say that the arrest of both Portland coach Chauncey Billups and Miami player Terry Rozier have raised serious concerns about sports betting and the integrity of sport. In the NBA, the NBA had no media comment about that request.
7 years apart, almost the same sentence, a different scandal. Now here's what the documents show. David Stern called gambling the worst threat the NBA had ever faced. The league built a fortune on it. The owner's franchises are now worth roughly 14 times what they were the day Stern stood at that podium. $600 billion, wagered since the ruling the NBA's own commissioner called for in print. The collective bargaining agreement expires December 31st, 2029. The next negotiation will happen inside a league with 25 gambling sponsors.
In terms of the collective bargaining agreement, the next steps are once I return home, and I'll be returning back to the United States tomorrow. We will be resuming our discussions next week, and it's a process where it includes several NBA team owners and a meeting with representatives.
A $600 billion betting market and an active federal investigation into the integrity of its games. This is Beyond the Buzzer. We read the fine print so you don't have to.